Okay, so welcome to another lecture, guys. And now in this lecture, I'll be talking about a normalization and a cosine similarity in a theoretical manner as well as in a practical manner. So in my previous class, let me share my screen. So in my previous class, I was talking about embedding. So embedding is nothing but converting any kind of a data, right? We have already seen that, by the way. So embedding is nothing but converting any kind of a data into a high dimension vector space. For example, so if I have maybe a text1, and text1 says that my name is Sudhanshu, right? So obviously if you are going to convert this entire data into its embedding, so it is going to give you a high dimension vector, means a number or an array which is eventually going to represent this particular information, this particular data, right? Maybe a textual data, maybe a image data, maybe something else, but yeah, so this embedding or this like a numerical representation, and this vector is going to represent, or this is going to talk about this particular data, obviously with the direction, right? But it is going to be the high dimension. For example, so the URI API that I have used for the embedding, so any given data set, it is going to convert it in a dimension of 1536. So just imagine that it is trying to use this one single data and it is trying to convert it into its respective embeddings, and it is trying to represent the data by using a dimension of size 1536, a big dimension, right? It is trying to represent, and this is eventually the numbers, and this direction is going to represent a semantic meaning of any of the information that you have given. So happily we were able to convert our data set into our respective embeddings. Now there is no doubt about it, right? Now let's suppose there is a sentence called as text2, yeah, and this sentence says that Sudhanshu is my Sudhanshu is my name. Yeah. Again, so I will be able to like create a embedding 2 for this one, for this text 2, right? In the same dimension, let's suppose. Now, if someone is going to ask you a question that how similar these two sentences are, how similar these two sentences are, by the way. So how you will be able to find out that how similar these two sentences are? So we have its vector representation, we have its numerical representation. So I can try to check maybe a distance in between, and there are other methods as well. So I can try to use all of these methods, and with the help of that method, maybe I can check its embeddings, and I will be able to find out that how similar these two sentences are, because that will be important in case of RAG application. So whenever you are going to fire any kind of a query, it will go into your vector database, it will try to extract all the information, and then it will send those information along with the query to a model, to a LLMs, right? To a LLM, so that it will be able to generate the response. So that is important, by the way. Yeah, it's very much important. Now here, right here, so we have a embedding 1, we have a embedding 2. How I will be able to check that how similar these two things are? Now this is where, right, this is where a cosine similarity comes into a picture. So this is where what comes into picture? A cosine similarity. So COSINE, cosine. So there are other methods as well. Going forward, I'll be talking about it. So this cosine similarity, this cos theta, right? It always says that if I have a vector, right? Let's suppose I have an embedding vector 1, right? I'm going to represent vector in this way, and we have an embedding vector 2, so second vector. So its cosine similarity is going to be embedding vector 1 dot embedding vector 2. So this is the formula for a cosine similarity you will be able to get. And I'm going to show you the calculation, so don't worry about that, right? Practically, I'm going to show you that part. But yeah, so here it may give you a result closer to +1. It may give you a result closer to 0. It may give you result closer to -1, because this is where this cosine is going to fluctuate, -1 to +1. Now, if result is closer to 1, it simply means that there is a very high similarity. If it is going to be absolute 1, then perfect similarity. So high similarity. If it is closer to 0, then in that case I can say that okay, so no similarity. And then here, if like it's -1, so I can say that it's completely opposite. It's completely going to be opposite. So this is how you will be able to like check that, okay, so what is basically, because I'm trying to check between two vectors, right? So this is maybe a vector v1, this is maybe a vector v2. So I'm just trying to check a theta in between, a cos theta in between these two vectors basically. So embedding 1 and embedding 2 between these two. So I'm trying to check with a very high dimension. So here I'm able to represent just with the 2 dimension, but yeah, with a very high dimension. So I'm trying to check with the help of this particular formula. But when you try to check a cosine similarity, so you have to normalize a vector in a very, very first place. Means the embedding 1, embedding 2, which I'm talking about, which is my vector technically, right? So you have to normalize those vector. So normalization always ensures that it will always try to, right? So it will always help you out in terms of like basically stopping a data to create some sort of a skewness in between, right? Skewness in between. So this is where normalization comes into picture. And what is the formula for a normalization? So formula is again very simple for a normalization. So let's suppose we have a vector v, right? Or maybe we have a embedding e1. So if I have to normalize e1, what I can do is, so normalized e1 is going to be basically e1 by e1. Simple. Now what is this? What is the denominator, by the way? So it's nothing but e1 divided by inside a vector, right? Inside a vector. So I will be having a multiple data, right? For example, if I'll talk about e1. So let's suppose we have a1, we have a2 and so on. These numbers, right? These numbers. So it's nothing but a1 square plus a2 square plus a3 square and so on for all of these dimension. Simple. So this is called as normalized vector, and normalization always try to, right? So normalize always try to scale a vector to have a unit length or magnitude is equals to 1 without changing its direction, right? Without changing its direction, so that it will be able to nullify the magnitude part. So, and it will be able to retain all the meaningful information, as simple as that. So here, let's try to implement a normalization, and let's try to implement like a cosine similarity, and let's try to check that how this is technically going to work with me. So I'll try to open up my VS Code, and here, so I can create a file cosine underscore normalize dot ipynb. Yeah, ipynb. Now I can try to select my kernel over here, and then I can show you that how normalization and how this cosine is going to work. So for normalization, I can try to create my own function. So import numpy as np, fine. And let's try to create a normalization function, normalize, normalize. So if I'm going to provide any kind of a vector, so what it should return, so it should return vector v divided by numpy dot linear algebra dot, there is a direct function which is available, right? There is function which is available, norm. So now this is going to return me the normalize one. Now, so here, if I have to like define the cosine similarity function, so cosine underscore function. So here, let's suppose if I have to check between two vectors, so I can try to pass maybe vector a and vector v, and then it should return me. It should return me what? So numpy dot product of basically dot product of normalize a and normalize b that I have already created, right? So dot product of basically normalize a and normalize b. So this is supposed to create, and this is going to be my cosine similarity. Simple, right? So cosine similarity over here. Now, so we have this function which is available to me. What I can do is that I can try to create a array over here. So maybe I can try to create my vector. Manually, I can try to create the vector. So vector 1 I can try to create. And vector 1 is basically 1 comma 2 comma 3. And then I'm going to create a vector 2 just for the testing purpose. So again, vector 2 says that that I have 2 comma 3 comma 4, and then maybe I can try to create a vector 3 over here, and vector 3 is having, let's suppose, -1 comma -2 comma -3. Yeah, so I have 3 vector over here. Now I have to check what is a similarity score, or how similar this vector 1 and vector 2 is. So simple, I can try to call my cosine function, and here, so I can try to pass my vector 1, and here I can try to pass my vector 2. Now it is giving me a similarity close to 99. So basically close to 1, right? This is what I have written over here. So it's basically coming close to 1. So there is a very high similarity. Now what is a similarity between vector 3 and vector 2? It's negative, right? It's a negative. What is the similarity between vector 3 and a vector 1? So it's basically negative, right? -1. So there is like a almost like a opposite. -1 means absolutely opposite to each other. So this is how cosine similarity is going to work. Now, so here I have given you an example, right? That my name is Danshu, Danshu is my name. So let's do that example now. So here text, yeah. So text and text 1, and I'm going to like store it in this way. So my name is Sudhanshu, fine. And then I'm going to take maybe a text 2, and here I can try to write Sudhanshu is my name. Sudhanshu is my name. So I have 2 text. Now what should be the first thing? First thing should be to convert this entire information into an embeddings. Okay, I can do that. So to convert anything into an embeddings, I can try to use a URI API, and with the help of URI, I can try to do that. Yeah, so I have already used it even in my last class. So here what I can do is that instead of this text 1, so here I can try to, instead of this input, so I can try to provide maybe a text 1. Yeah, text 1 I can try to provide over here. And then, or maybe I can try to parameterize it. That will be much better. So text, and then text will come over here. And let me change the URI API key. So URI API key will be what? So URI API key will be here inside the authentication tab. So here I can try to change the authentication. Okay, change the authentication, fine. So here I have just like made this function a little bit generic, and it is going to hit this like a model, this particular model, and this model is hosted at this particular path, this particular URL, and it is going to give me the response. Yeah, it is going to give me the response. I don't think that these things are important, by the way. So I'm just looking for like a embedding as a result. So maybe just remove everything. Yeah, just remove each and everything. So I just need this much. Nothing much is required. So I just need this much. So numpy.array data 0 embeddings. And okay, so data numpy.array and data, fine. So embeddings. So this is the only things which I need. So fine, let's execute this part. Yeah. And now let's try to call emb d1. So embed 1 is nothing but get embeddings, and then inside that try to pass text 1, fine. And embed 2 embd2 is nothing but generate embeddings function, call once again, and then try to pass text 2 over here. Execute it, and object of type set is JSON not serializable. Okay, so let me check what is the issue. I don't see any kind of a issue so far. But yeah, let me check. Yeah, okay, so the obvious relation was like error because of this curly braces use around the text. So I just removed that curly braces. Now it's fine. So now let's try to like execute this one, and here, so let's try to call embed 1 embd1. So embed 1 is this one, and let's try to call embed 2, by the way. So embed 2 is this one. Now I would like to like know that how similar these two sentences are. I'm able to convert the sentences into embeddings with the help of my embedding API. Now here, so I can try to call my cosine function, and inside that I can try to pass my embed 1, and then I can try to pass my embed 2. And yeah, so it's like a very much similar, right? So this is the result that I'm able to get. So this is the reason. So we are going to use like a this kind of a similarity check basically, so that it is going to tell me that how similar these two data set is, how similar these two sentences are. So successfully, guys, we are able to learn that how cosine similarity has been implemented even in a mathematical form or even in this way. Plus, I'm able to take my own data. As you can see, I'm able to convert those data into embeddings, and for that data, I'm able to even check that how similar these two data set is. So that's the beauty of embeddings, and again, you guys will keep on using this entire thing. So remember always, right? Remember always, and even in the future, so you all are going to use it. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. Take care, and see you again in my next lecture.